You found the home you wanted. You made an offer. The sellers accepted it, and for a few days, the hardest part of buying and selling at the same time felt like it was behind you. Then, your agent calls with news you weren't expecting. The sellers kept their home on the market, another buyer stepped forward, and now your purchase is in jeopardy. That moment is one of the most common worries I hear from homeowners once they understand how contingent offers work here in Southwest Washington. Coordinating these two-sided moves for Clark and Cowlitz County homeowners is the part of this work I do most. So let's talk through exactly what's happening, because the situation has a name, and it's far more manageable than it feels like in that first phone call. Let's start with what being bumped actually means, because the word sounds worse than the reality. When you make an offer on your next home before your current home is under contract, your offer carries a contingency. That contingency is tied to selling your home. The sellers can accept your offer and still keep their home active on the market. In Washington state specifically, that condition is called bump status. And the seller's right to act on a competing offer is called the bump clause. Being bumped is the sellers using that clause after they accept a stronger offer from a buyer who doesn't have a home sale contingency of their own. Here's the part that matters most. Being bumped is not the same as losing the home. It doesn't cancel your contract on its own, it starts a defined process. The sellers give you formal notice that they've accepted another offer. And from that moment, you have a set window to respond. You're still the buyer under contract that whole time. The decision about what happens next stays with you. It also helps to know when this risk goes away. Bump status only applies while your current home doesn't yet have a buyer under contract. Once your home reaches mutual acceptance with a buyer of your own, the bump clause is waived. The sellers can't act on a competing offer anymore, and your purchase isn't exposed to that pressure any longer. So the bump window is a temporary stretch of the process. It isn't a permanent condition. Now let's talk about what happens when and if that notice actually comes. In Washington state, the bump notice gives you a 5 business day window to respond. That window is there to give you a fair chance to either firm up your purchase or step away on terms you can live with. Inside that window, you really have 3 choices, and each one carries a different consequence for your money and your timeline. The first choice is to get your current home under contract inside that window. A buyer who's ready to move quickly can resolve the whole thing, because once your home reaches mutual acceptance, the contingency that triggered the bump is satisfied. That's the cleanest outcome. It's also the one that depends most on whether your home was already prepared, priced, and positioned to attract a buyer before the notice ever arrived. The second choice is to waive the contingency and move forward with the purchase, as long as you're financially able to do that. Waiving means you're committing to close on the new home, whether or not your current home has sold. Some owners can carry both properties for a short stretch, or they have a bridge loan or a HELOC in place that makes it work. Others simply can't. And that's exactly why this decision needs to be looked at long before a notice arrives. Waiving a contingency you can't actually support is how a stressful moment turns into a financial problem. The third choice is to release the contract. Walking away is sometimes the right call, especially when waiving isn't realistic and your home isn't drawing offers yet. Releasing the contract protects your earnest money under the terms of your agreement, and it frees you to keep working on selling your home without the weight of a purchase you can't support yet. Now, it's a setback, but it's not a failure. Plenty of homeowners go on to buy a different home in a stronger position within just a few days or weeks later. Here's the takeaway from all of this. The homeowners who navigate a bump window calmly aren't the lucky ones, they're the prepared ones. The strongest defense against being bumped is to shorten the amount of time your purchase sits exposed. And that work happens well before any offers get written. The most effective thing you can do is have your home ready to perform the day it hits the market. professional photography, focused preparation, the right price, a clear showing plan. All of that means your home attracts a buyer quickly instead of slowly. And the faster your home reaches mutual acceptance, the sooner the bump clause is waived and the risk goes away completely. Sequencing matters too. Some homeowners choose to list their current home and get it under contract before they make an offer on the next one, which takes the bump exposure off the table before it starts. Others make the contingent offer first and accept a defined stretch of bump risk in exchange for locking in a home they don't want to lose. Neither one is automatically right. The right choice depends on your finances, your timeline, and how much risk you're comfortable taking. And the last thing, decide your response in advance. Knowing ahead of time whether you could waive the sale contingency, whether your home is set up to sell quickly, and at what point you'd release the contract, turns a high pressure moment into a decision you already made calmly. Choices made from preparation almost always serve you better than choices made under duress. Being bumped is a real possibility for anyone buying before their current home is under contract. It deserves to be taken seriously, and it's also manageable. The process is defined, the window is workable, and the outcomes are known ahead of time. The hard part isn't the rules, it's facing them without having thought through your own position first. That's the part I help homeowners with. You'll find the full picture of how the timing, the financing, and the contingencies fit together in the Southwest Washington Homeowners Complete Guide to Buying and Selling at the Same Time. There's a free checklist you can download too. You'll find a link in the description below. Every homeowner's situation is unique, and working through how all of this applies to your specific circumstances is exactly how I help my clients every day. No pressure, no obligation. I'm Jefferson Akin. When you're ready to have that conversation, I'm here for you.